For those of you asking, I did go ahead and watch like the Meet the Queens. So like this isn't like a blind reaction. Like I know somewhat of who they are, or at least they displayed who they were in the Meet the Queens video. With that being said, I'm just gonna go in and start ranking them because I have no idea who any of the fuck these bitches are. So first up we have Alyssa Hunter. I don't know what it was, but I kind of do. When I saw Alyssa Hunter on like the screen and they were just talking and being themselves, I was like, wow, I love you. And then they also had this amazing look that went with them. And I was just like, wow, I love you even more. And also they're Latin, so we love the Latinx representation, which is iconic. I like them for their personality because they seem like they're very spunky and they seem like they're very like outgoing and like, you know that it's not going to be boring. And also with the drag that they were bringing in the trailer, it was nice. Like, it was really nice. I also am a bit worried because I feel like they're going to be painted as the villain in this season only because they said it themselves. Like, if they have something to say, they'll let you know. And so I'm like, oop, they're going to, and then they're like, I'll fight. And I'm like, okay, girl, go off, I guess. I really hope they're not painted as a villain because I really loved what I saw from them. They were iconic. Honestly, I don't know if it's a stan or if it's an icon, but I think, you know what? I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna honestly put Alyssa Hunter as a stan. I just love them so far. This is my first impression. I have not seen what they have brought into the workroom or anything like that. So I'm just purely going off of like trailers and previews and all of that stuff. And I feel like I stand them. Like I'm really excited to see what they bring for this competition. Next up, we have Angie. I forgot their full name. Let me Google it. Angeria Paris Van Michaels is their name. I will admit, when I was watching their videos, like of the Meet the Queens, I literally had to put them talking at like 2 speed because they talk so slow. Like they're pretty. I'll give it to them. Like icon, legend, but I just was like, why do they talk so slow? Like icon, pretty, they're like amazing. They were funny and they had like a lot of like charm and like charisma. But they talked so slow. I literally was getting bored from them talking because I'm like, girl, you need to pick up the pace. Like, we don't have all this time to like talk at this speed. That's why I feel like I'm not going to be seeing a lot of confessionals from them because they just take so long to talk. But they're okay. I'll give them an okay. They like have a good personality. That's really it. They have a good personality. Next up, we have Bosco. Bosco, I think is from Seattle, they said. And I really like how they do their eyebrows. Like, honestly, when I think about it, that's kind of smart because my problem when I do my eyebrows is always trying to figure out where to place my arch. But they know exactly where because they can always make a line. So it's like you kind of just like ignore the arch, you know? I don't know. I feel like their like eyebrows would be easier to do than like just doing a regular brow because they're kind of iconic. But it'd be hard to like get them to like go out the same angle. So like understand that. But I will say I do like the drag that they have. I feel like they had a lot of really good looks. And I feel like I enjoyed them because they weren't taking themselves too seriously. However, I will say they were a little bit overconfident for my opinion. They just were very like, so for me, I was just like, okay. Like, I wasn't like living for them. I know a lot of people are like obsessed with Bosco right now and they're like, oh my God, top 2. And I'm like, honestly, possibly, I'm not sure, but I am not really too taken away by Bosco. I think for me, it's just, they're like, there's just like an air about them that is like low key kind of like arrogant, but like not in like a charming way. More of like, I know I'm like a bad bitch, but like, but like, I don't know how to describe it, but they are entertaining. So for that, I'm gonna put them in meh. They're meh. Also I'm gonna be honest, their looks aren't really my style. So I'm like, they're not my cup of tea, but they're good. They're just not I'm not obsessed. Next up, we have Diabetti. Originally, I did not like Diabetti, but then after the interview, I honestly fell in love with them. The funny thing is, I was gonna say they low-key remind me of Crystal Method within like their personality, but also like their craftiness and like their out there-ness. And then when I found out that they were like drag sisters with them, or is that their drag mother? I can remember. But I was like, I can see the family resemblance because the way they carry themselves is very similar, and also like their like style is kind of like a grungier version of, yeah. I forgot who I was talking about. Who the fuck was I talking about? Crystal Method. Crystal Method. Yeah, I was talking about them. With that being said, I'm gonna put them an icon because honestly, they are low-key like an icon. Like, iconic. Like, that's an icon. Like, just them talking, I was like, iconic. And they were like, I have diabetes. I'm now diabetic. And I'm like, okay, iconic. You do that, girl. You go off, sis. Next up, we have Deja Sky. It's funny because they live kind of where I live. I'm from San Francisco, so they're from Fresno, which is like not too far out, but like they performed in like San Jose because I've seen people take pictures with them. So I'm like, okay, icon, like go off, like you're doing it. Okay, I will say this, I very much liked the fashion that I saw. I was like low-key like, wow, these are like looks, like these are looks. And I also like how their looks are very colorful because I feel like I love colorful looks. Like, I don't know, their looks are very out there and like bold, and I appreciate that, but like not bold in like I'm super fashiony, I'm hot couture, but it was more so like, wow, I'm like bold and I'm here to do something fun and cool and crazy. And that's kind of what I like about them. So honestly, also, can we talk about when they were like, my one weird thing about me is that I love watching anime porn. When they said that, I was like, electric chair. Electric chair right now. But honestly, I am kind of excited to see what they bring. I will say they're a little quiet, but I'm sure they'll like find their voice throughout the show. Hopefully. Because when you think about it, these previews thingies are like filmed after the show. So I'm like, if you're quiet now, then you're going to probably be quiet on the show. But like, I'm definitely going to put them in icon. Next up, we have Jasmine Kennedy. I will say, I thought Jasmine was really, really pretty. Like, I was literally blown away by them. I also think it's kind of funny how they low-key talk like a New Yorker. Like, I was like, okay, go off. That's kind of funny. They're also like, they had like that, I don't know how to say it, but they have like that New Yorker laugh. And I was like, that's kind of entertaining. However, the one thing about them is I would say they were a tad bit, once again, that same feeling from like Bosco. They were very like, me. So I did appreciate them for their looks, but at the same time I was just like, they really just like seemed kind of like also, they talked so much. Like when I was watching the thing, I was like, wow, this person's talking so much. And then I like how the producers made fun of that by like doing like the thing where they like were talking on top of each other. That was kind of funny. I think that they're gonna do good on the show. I just, once again, am personally like not super like, wow, like eye-catching, crazy, like icon, legend. So with that being said, I am gonna put them in the meh. Next up, we have Jorgeous. I just touched my lip on my nose, and I better not have gotten lipstick on it. Is it there? Is there nose? Is there nose? Is there nose on my lipstick? Is there lipstick on my nose? Okay, back to Jorgeous. Sorry. I was honestly blown away with their beauty. Like, they are so pretty. Like, I don't understand how one can be so pretty. The one thing I will say is like their drag to me didn't seem like super like, ooh. Cause for me, like they're really pretty and they also were like low-key kind of quiet. So I'm excited for them on the show, but I'm kind of nervous because I feel like they're definitely gonna get talked over by other queens on the show. But they seemed very nice and very chill. And I also liked how they say, oh my God, because literally I related to that so much because people literally, when talking to me, hear, oh my God, so much. that I'm like, I see part of myself in Jorgeous, but except they're just like hotter and like better. I'm jealous. I'm jealous. I could be Jorgeous, but I'm not. I really can't be. Okay, wait. I take that back. I had the potential to be Jorgeous, but I'm not because I've not taken the time to blossom. But they looked good, and that's all that really matters. They looked amazing. With that being said, I am probably gonna put them... I'm gonna put them in the stan list. Like, low-key, I stan them. They're just really sweet. I'm like, oh, you're so cute. Next up is June Jambalaya. Being honest, I did not like them at all. They just like had this look that, like, you know when someone has like really bad RBF? That's them. They have like the worst like case of RBF ever. Like, I really was like, wow, just looking at your face and your facial expressions, I know you're going to be a complete bitch. But then when I got to like watch the video, and I was just like, wow, I like you. Like, they were humble, they were funny, and they were like, I don't know, like they just really weren't what I was expecting. I really just expected them to be like a bitch. And I don't know why, but like from the promos, I expected them to be like very egotistical as well. And like those two things together are like a big no for me. Like, if you're egotistical, a bitch, and hypocritical, like you're literally the worst person to be. Like, those are all my like least favorite qualities of someone. But that's literally not what we're talking about. What we're talking about is actually, I low-key love June Jambalaya. I don't know what it is about them, but I'm like, wow, you're like my mom. You're like, I don't know, they're probably not like my mom. They're probably like my like aunt that I'm like, oh my God, Tia, like, let's do stuff. I don't know, like I feel like they give me really good life advice, and like, I don't know, I don't know what to say. Like, I just like them. I just don't have a reason. I just like them. Like, they seem cool. That's really it. They just seem cool and they seem really nice. And they are also really pretty. So, like, when you, like, get the things, it's like ding, 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 ding. With that being said, I am going to put them an icon. Next up is Carrie Colby. Can we just take a moment? Carrie Colby is so hot. Like, literally, I know I said this about Jorgeous, but literally I'm like, how is this bitch so pretty? Like, I wish I looked like that. The funny thing is, literally, watching this video, I for sure know now they're probably going to be the villain of the story, because they had such like one-liners and like they were low-key like sassy. Like, they were like the sassy one. Like, they acted how I expected June Jambalaya to act. And June Jambalaya acted how I expected Carrie Colby to act. So I'm like, it's just weird that they like swapped personalities in my head, even though I literally didn't get to hear either like of their personalities before. I just imagined that's what they were like. And I honestly love Carrie Colby. I feel like they're gonna give a lot of drama this season, but I also am like kind of excited because they're honestly really, really hot. And they're trans, I believe. Don't take me on this, but I believe they're trans, and I love how we're getting more trans exclusion. Hold up, canceled. More trans inclusion within the show, because literally we just had like our first trans male contestant got Mick, and then we had our trans female contestant, which was Sonique in like season 2, but then it was like Peppermint in like season 9. Yeah. So I feel like the show's come a really long way, and I'm really excited to see what Carrie can bring, and also excited to see them represent the community. But I will say it was really funny because they were like, yeah, I'm just like happy to be a Colby. And they're acting like it's a really like big deal, but I'm dumb and I have no idea who the fuck the House of Colby is. So I'm like, you go off, girl. You are the House of Colby. I don't know who you are, but go off. With that being said, I'm gonna put them... I don't know. I'm gonna put them in the icon. Like, honestly, I'm gonna put the... No, I take it back. I'm putting them in the stands. They deserve to be stand. Like, honestly, go off. So up next is cornbread, and honestly, I feel like everyone is freaking out about cornbread because I have like been on YouTube and I've just been seeing like so many suggestions of videos of cornbread being suggested to me. So I'm like, we get it. You have my data. You know what I do and you know what I want and you know what I like. So you're giving me this video. With that being said, I am low-key excited to see what they bring. I feel like they're going to bring a lot of comedy. I'm not too sure, like, if they conserve looks, because I'm not really, like, familiar. Like I said, I'm not really familiar with any of these queens, so I'm just, like, I'm not sure if, like they serve looks. Did I stutter? I stuttered. But I'm excited to see what they can do, because their looks seem very put together, but it wasn't my style. Like, the yellow thingy that they were wearing with, like, the blue and yellow, that was not for me. But they definitely were very entertaining, and I loved every second of their interview. And I honestly am really excited to see them on this season. So I'm just going to go ahead and put them on the stand list. Like, I know I'm being basic in this, but I'm just like, wow, I like cornbread. Next up, we have Lady Camden. And it's really funny because they're from SF. That's it. They're just from SF. They're from SF. I'm from SF. So I'm like, oh my God, we're SF girls. Like, hi, Lady Camden. I've never met them. I don't know. I don't really go out like that. Especially because, like, COVID. So I turned 21 during, like, the pandemic. So I'm like, you know. But I never got to see them live. And I low-key regret that, because now I'm like, wow, I'm probably not going to be able to see them live, because they're going to go on, like, a world tour. And they're never going to come back to San Francisco. At Rock'em Sakura. But I will say I was a tad bit underwhelmed. Their look to me wasn't necessarily the best. I'm saying this because I feel bad, because I'm like, you're from SF, so I want to root for you, because someone from SF needs to take the crown home already. Like, I'm just waiting. Someone from SF, please take the crown home. But I will say they were very polished. I'll give them that. They also weren't, like, giving, like, any, like, drama or, like, very, like, charismatic things. Like, they were easy to like, but at the same time, they were also, like, very quiet and very, like, timid. So I was like, oh. But they were very self-aware, which is something that I really appreciate, because I really hate when bitches go on the show and they're like, I'm the best bitch that's ever walked in this entire fucking show. Bow down at my feet. That, like, is so irritating. So with that being said, I'm gonna put Lady Camden in the okay category. Okay, I'm low-key excited for this one. This is Maddie Morphosis. This is the first straight person to ever be on Drag Race. It's just funny to me. It's just funny to me. And literally everyone is, like, blowing up about it. Be like, oh my God, like, yeah. Like, there are so many valid points. Like, there are people saying, like, we have even had someone that is, like, a woman doing drag, or even, like, a male drag. Wait, what? That makes sense. We haven't even had a woman doing drag on a US Drag Race, so I'm like, I can totally understand that, totally see that. And then we also haven't had any drag kings on this show, and they're like, let's do a straight cis het man on Drag Race before we do any of those. And I'm not saying drag was, like, started by the community, but, like, it was. So, like, I just find it interesting that, like, we can support straight men doing drag before we can support lots of other people doing drag. But that's no hate on Maddie. That's more or less me being mad and upset with the producers. But honestly, I'm going to say this. I really like Maddie Morphosis. I found their interviews really, really entertaining. I also really like their looks. And I am really excited to see what they bring, because it seems like they're going to bring a lot. And they're here to show us straight men can do drag. And they're self-aware. Like, they're not going up there being like, yeah, like, straight men are so underrepresented in the drag community. They were like, yeah, like, straight men, like, we're underrepresented. Haha. And I'm like, I like that you're self-aware, and I like how you know this. And this is iconic. So you go off, bitch. Go ahead. Go through, go off. Maddie's an icon. Next up is Orion's Story. Orion's Story low-key reminds me of, like, what's that bitch's name? Scarlet Envy. She reminds me of Scarlet Envy, but, like, not as pretty. Listen! I'm just being honest. That's maury. Oh my God, why is everything falling? I really like their personality. Like, honestly, they were just very calm and chill. So that makes me like them. And they also had a really pretty outfit on. So I'm like, go off, sis. Like, do the shit. So with that, I'm just gonna put them in okay. And next up we have Willow Pill, who I think their name should be Willow Pillow. That just has like a better ring to it to me. Like Willow Pillow, iconic. But I think it's iconic that they literally made their name after the fact that they have to take so many pills. And they're also Evie Oddly's drag sister, daughter, uncle, aunt, nephew, grandmother, niece, stepchild person. But I will say I expected them to be really nice and very sweet. And they were like low-key kind of bitchy. So I'm like, that's kind of a turnoff for me. Like, I'm not saying like every drag queen needs to be really nice, but I'm also not saying like every drag queen needs to be very nice. What was the point of that? I'm just not saying you don't need to be rude. They just seemed like they were ready to fight. Like they were very like the vixen, but like not like the charismatic energy of the vixen. It was just like, yeah, I just like, I'm here to fight. And I'm like, that's better than I just came to fight. You know, like there's a clear difference. Like, give me the energy. Where's the energy? I need the energy. The funny thing is I was prepared to stan Willow Pillow. I'm just going to call them Willow Pillow now. But I was prepared to stand them. Also ignore that I'm wearing sweats because it's cold. But I am still going to put them as an icon because they are an icon. Their looks were sickening. Definitely. So this is my final tier list. As you can see, no one really is bad in this season. After watching this, I'm kind of excited to see what everyone can bring. And I think the cast is really amazing and really great. And I really am excited to watch the season, which is kind of a first because I'm like, usually like there's a couple people I'm like, you can literally choke, like leave. But I'm like, okay, no one can choke, but I just hope you would like, okay your meal. Like, I just hope you somewhat like your meal, you know? My camera's literally dying, so I have to do this really quickly. So I am going to now talk about who I think are going to be in the top 3. I don't know. Okay, I do know. The top 3, in my opinion, or top 4. I feel like we do top 4s now more than top 3s, so I'm just going to do a top 4. The top 4s of this season, in my opinion, are going to be Cornbread, Bosco. I don't know. Cornbread, Bosco, Diabetes, and maybe Alyssa Hunter? This one's really hard for me because I feel like everyone's like kind of like on an even playing field because in my opinion, I don't mean to be rude. Wait, no, okay. I think Angie. Okay, wait, no, I'm switching it up now. Cornbread, Angie, Bosco, and Diabetes. That's the top 4. Cornbread, Bosco, Angie, and Diabetes. Yeah, that's definitely it. I think they have the potential to be the top 4. I think they are really funny, really unique, and they definitely stand out. But who I would like as my top 4 is Cornbread, Willow Pillow, Jorgeous, and Alyssa Hunter. That's my top. That's who I want to be in the top 4. Like, those are like my dreams. Like, if they made it to the top 4, I'd honestly be really happy. But now we also have the question of who is first out. The person that to me is going to be first out, it's a toss-up between 2 people. I think that either June Jambalaya is going to be first out or Orion Story. I think June Jambalaya or Orion Story are the 2 people that I think they will be the first ones to go. Usually I'm pretty good at like getting like the first ones out. Like I usually can tell who gets out and I at least get one of the top 4 right. I feel like I'm usually good at predicting who's going to go home first. Like, you can kind of just tell within the way that they're edited in the promos. And I get, like, the vibe that, like, June Jambalaya or Orion Story are going to be the first ones out. And also, like, Orion Story's kind of quiet and they both are kind of quiet. And usually the quiet people go first, is what I've noticed. I'm definitely going to give love to Jorgeous because Jorgeous, I don't think you're going to go far. But I do think that you're going to be iconic. And I can't wait to see what Jorgeous brings. Like, honestly, Jorgeous out of everyone is, like, definitely my favorite. Because they're so sweet. And they're also really pretty and really nice. I hope they can sew, and I hope they can act, and I hope they can sing, and I hope they can dance. Because I have no idea what any of them can do. So, I'm just throwing stuff out there. Like, I don't know. But thank you for watching this video. Don't forget to go down to the links below. You can see links to all my other videos. I even did a video where I created this look here, and you can click that down below. Don't forget... Oh, wait, no, I already said that. I'm so dumb. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up if you liked it. If you did not like it, that is because you are probably Bosco stan and you're like, why did you rate Bosco so low? Okay, I see you. Don't think I don't see you. I know you and I see you, and I felt seen, I felt heard, and I hear you. And last but not least, do not forget to subscribe, and I'll see you all in my next video. Bye. Mwah.